Welcome everyone, and a happy Independence Day to you. Here is your host, Publius Wilderness.
Welcome to Petrolia Reservoir. We're outside of Montana. We Quickdraw Contoured this lake yesterday and buried through the rain. Got an idea of what the bottom structure and everything looks like now. And we're chasing walleye. The average size fish around here is 14 inches, give or take. We'll have more on that later. The reservoir size is about 518 acres, and just what we ballparked yesterday in mapping, there was only really about a few key pieces of structure. So we're going to fish those, and we're going to see if we can get on a halfway decent bite today. Stay tuned for some good stuff.
Okay, so while he's fishing, I'll give you a little background of Petrolia Reservoir. So some of the game fish that are found here include brown trout, rainbow trout, northern pike, there's West Slope cutthroat trout, and obviously the species we're after today, walleye. There's also about 11 other species of fish found here, which include yellow perch, there's a couple suckers, and several species of minnows. So the forage fish are plentiful, which is good. Now, looking at stocking data, I went back to 2016, and Petrolia Reservoir has been stocked with a little over 20,000 walleye each year, usually less than 2 inches in length. Now, this graph shows sampling data from the last 4 years, and you can see that the average lengths are anywhere from 12.5 to 15.5 inches. And you can also see that anything over 17 inches is shown as an outlier. So with that, we kind of decided to call anything over 18 inches a trophy fish for this water body. So our goals while we're here on this trip will be to quick draw contour this reservoir and upload that data for you to use, and to rate the spot based on species, water body, and angler difficulty for any of you viewers out there that may be looking for a new fishing destination, and to catch a fish over 18 inches, or a Petrolia trophy, hopefully. Oh, and here's our first fish of the day, folks.
Ocho, it's a walrus. Ocho, it's a walrus. Oh, Ocho, we just kicked the skunk out of the boat. Yeah. All right. That's us kicking the skunk out of the boat right there, buddy. Talk about making a game changer on the day. Come on. Oh, he throated her, didn't he? All right. That is right in the ballpark of what we're looking for. Ocho up front. What do you think? Should we get a measurement on him, buddy? I bet he's going to fall in our average range, isn't he? 17 3/4. We're on the board. Let's see if we can make it better.
Let's see if we could make that better. That was 1/4 of an inch away from what we just decided would be our trophy fish. Somebody didn't have their coffee this morning.
Fish. Another walrus. Ocho, are we dialing him in or not? He's not as big though. He's not as big. All right. See if we can make this start to work. We'll go hog hunting.
A hog? Like the first fish you caught?
And oh goodness. 14 1/4, Ocho. 14 1/4. Hey. Up front. Fish. It's a dink. It's a dink. That's like a freshly stocked one, isn't it? That's like a freshly stocked fish. It doesn't even let me get the daydream going. Hopefully this feels like a better fish. It's still a Wallace. It's still a Wallace.
Well, it's about 1 p.m. Lightning kept us off the water for most of the day, but we are back now. And we also have the professor with us, our guest fisherman, for the afternoon. And this fish you see right here is actually the first fish we caught pitching crankbaits, which turned out to be a really important tactic. And we also are harvesting a few fish for the professor today.
There's fish. Walleye. Feels like a Wallace. Playing like a Wallace. Ooh, maybe a better Wallace? Oh, it is. Good. Not perfectly hooked, but he pinned it to the ground. Yeah. He pinned it. Ocho, that's not the biggest fish we caught today. That is a fish. So, this is pretty much what we're seeing typically. It's going to wrap up day one. We'll have to see you again in the morning. Oh, I'm so glad I caught a fish. Closing out a day without having a fish to show for it. Yeah, watch that video. All right, 7:15, day 2. Crankbait, check. First cast, check. Let's try and make some magic happen here today. Got just enough breeze. Yes. Starting off in the kickoff spot again today. good to us last night and yesterday morning. We might as well. There's a fish finally.
That one?
Yep.
Finally.
Yeah. Right. I was beginning to lose faith in myself. Oh, and the skunk is gone. The skunk is gone. Alright, I like it when they do it that way. We're on the board. On the board. Ocho, on the board. Now I can make fun of you. Here's another fish. Woo! Come on. Come on. Don't be a hero.
The cranks are the secret, apparently.
Yeah. Something. Come off. A little smaller so far today, huh, Joe? Oh, Joe. Well, I guess I'll spot lock her here and we'll pound on this spot a bit, huh?
A little tip here, crankbaits are very expensive, so check your leaders as often as possible and retie if needed. And next up, the professor gets a quick rundown on inline planer boards.
So that's up, that's to me.
That's
Mine's
fine.
clicked. When I drop it in, it's coming towards the boat.
Oh, we have a fish on over here. If one of you would pay attention.
Looks like it's working. Oh, fish on. He didn't pop out of the tip. He's not huge.
No, but ain't bad either.
You know this is working. Oh, no. Paula strikes again.
Yeah. Just tell me if you wouldn't do anything.
Not yet. Oh, Joe, fish on, buddy. Well, dragging plugs works.
Yeah. Apparently.
Okay, so now that's you got a fish on there, I think. That's bobbing like a fish. No, not that one, this one.
Yeah.
I think there's a fish on there.
I'm watching that back one.
That's touching the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the professor does have a fish on here, and if Publius Wilderness was paying attention, he would realize he has a fish on too, and we have a double going. This ended up being our only double for the whole trip.
Still struggling in the size department though. I got fish too.
Really, Professor? Who lands a fish like that? I mean, we didn't even get to see it.
Now I'm struggling in the size department.
Perhaps just the
Okay, so we had another rain and thunderstorm delay, but we're back now. It's about 2:15, and we've had a few shenanigans, and he was pitching cranks for about 20 minutes, but now he finally gets a slump buster on a jig.
It's a dink. That's a fish.
Yeah.
Get the gaff! Get the gaff!
The only time size doesn't matter is when it's a slump buster.
Monster. All right, new spot. Fresh spot we haven't hit yet, but we marked fish.
Well, this spot was a letdown. So we ended up sliding down the bank a ways to a sharper turn that had some better contour, like the other points that had been producing.
Here's a fish. Right at the boat. Ooh, this is a better fish. Maybe not.
Did you net it? No.
I'm gonna Bill dance it a bit here for the camera. Jeez. Oh, haha.
Yeah, not bad.
It takes a real pro to do that. I don't even need the pliers. Right? Well, whatever. When you can't practice the unhooking, netting, and the release like that. I was kind of thinking I was going to pop a fish on this inside. I have to switch that other rod to cranking if that happens. There's oh.
Remember, you should always follow up these short strikes like this with another cast.
Got him that time. This feels like a better fish. No. No, it's not. Swinging them in now.
That was a hell of a. That was fucking solid.
How many was that? That's 3 fish here in like what, 10 minutes? Goodbye. Good luck. Tell your friends about me. All right. So the last segment of the day. We're gonna try and catch one more fish, close it out. Notice how the weather is glass again. Who knew? Instead of thunderstorms in the afternoon, it threatened thunderstorms everywhere but here. Yeah, so I guess the weather is gonna be play it by ear. But it laid back down, so we'll have to see what's really gonna happen here. So we pretty well got the lake pattern, got everything figured out. I guess we had a really good crankbait bite today, so just pitching cranks was pretty good in about 11 feet of water. Didn't seem to really matter what it was. Recap it when we were dragging plugs, that sort of helped solve the day. Jigs are only good when we can actually pinpoint a spot. That's why I came back here, because we were hitting them on cranks and with jigs. So we're gonna see what else we can get to happen.
Walleye's large reflective eyes are very sensitive to bright light, so when the water is glass such as this, more light gets through and it actually slows walleye activity, making it a little harder to catch one.
Good morning, day 3. We're here at the classic spot, getting set up, getting ready to make the first pitch for the day. Hopefully we can make today a little better than yesterday. The best day is the last day, right? Or the best day is the first day after you leave, but then you'd be back to work. That doesn't count. So I still got skunk closing out last night, so that's gonna be that. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So today we're gonna try and figure out if we can hit a trophy fish for this water body, which based on what we know of the size classes in this thing, all it has to be at this point is over 18 inches. So if we can do that, we'll just make that the goal for the day. One fish over 18 inches. Good fish. Come on, Wallace. It is a Wallace. All right. It's a dinky Wallace, but this is the Wallace that kicks the skunk out of the boat. Which is important, huh, Joe? Which is important. Right? Hey, here you go. All right, the skunk's out of the boat. Fish landing violation. Ocho, 2-minute penalty. Minutes. Probably get me for the release too.
So this was another attempt at pulling plugs. But all we did was tow this little dink around for however long.
Fish landing violation, 2-minute penalty. The guy's next to us. What's that?
And that was the only fish caught today pulling plugs.
Okay, we just finally caught a better one. I don't think he's gonna do our 18 trophy mark, is he? Oh, he does! All right, 18 1/4. That's a Petrolia trophy right there. Yay!
Well, it's about time he released a fish properly.
That took us long enough. Last day, last film segment. Here we go. Professor's hooked up.
Another awkward fish landing.
There's a quick breakdown of what we're doing. We're just hitting these little nick points after we did the mapping. Let's get you in there a little better. Whatever. So we're hitting that one. That's a spot we marked fish when we were mapping. And then that waypoint is a nick where we saw fish when we were mapping. So what we're doing is we're just sort of partying this one, coming out here looking for fish, partying this one. And when we hit a fish, we just spot lock and we move on. So we're gonna do that and we'll move up to this point and we'll see if we hit one on the way. All right, hooked up. So we'll just spot lock this.
Nothing big.
We might have a buddy out there we can go find. There's nothing wrong with that. And we did just go over some fish. So. Oh, LDR. If it doesn't touch the boat, it doesn't count.
Oh, it counts.
Really? Did it touch the boat?
So
It doesn't
yes.
count then.
As far as I'm concerned, it damn.
We didn't move very far either. We moved a few feet. There are a few more active fish shallower here.
Yeah.
There's a fish.
There we go.
Oh, it's a better fish too. Oh, it is. All right. Wallace. Dear Wallace. Not really. Oh, missed. Amateur. So we did have a buddy there at least. We are finding a little bit better size class of fish in this dirtier water that's getting hit by the wind than we were the rest of the lake. So, oh, choke. But a little bit of smash and grab on the right structure, and we're getting her done. This little guy, don't worry about that little guy. By the way, that's what it looks like when, you know, they count.
Yep.
And I only get to say that cocky because I know one of these days you need to say it back.
Oh, I will.
All right. It's the last hurrah on Petrolia Reservoir outside of Winnett, Montana. Or Petrolia Lake, as the signs say. Whatever. It's been pretty good to us so far. Been really good to us, actually. So we'll see if we can put a few more fish in the boat. Come up with a few last thoughts here. One of which is there's a storm coming. Finally got our typical afternoon thunderstorm rolling in like you would expect in the summertime. The last few days were just shoot from the hip. So we put a trophy walleye in the boat today, and I'm just gonna ballpark this. I'm gonna say of the 3 days we've been here now, not counting a mapping day, we've put 20 fish in the boat each day, which is those are pretty strong numbers for anybody who wants to come out here. Those numbers can probably be better if you're using live bait. So we'll see what happens here. There's fish. Tell you what, this is a bonus fish right here. My Big Bites Baits swim and jerk minnow saved me. We got a tagged fish. $410,900 Montana-FWP. So we'll probably get a length on him and let him go. We're gonna call him 13. What was it? 13 what? 13 and 7/8. 13 and 7/8. Man, that swimming jerk minnow did me good. Woo! Alright, and a tagged fish. Talk about finishing strong. Well, that's the end of day 3 here at Petrolia Reservoir. We had a great time. This is a worthwhile place. 2 things to note. We did meet our goals, 1 trophy fish and 1 bonus tagged fish, which the tagged fish at this point was the closeout pity fish. And the quick draw contours that we did the first day will be posted to the Garmin website before this whole video gets, you know, edited and compiled and posted for viewing. So if you made it this far, thank you. We're not going away, so we'll be back. Professor says thanks for having him, and I guess I'll let the narrator close you out on the rest.
Well, there you have it, folks. That was Petrolia Reservoir. So we had a great time here over the 4th. Overall, we give this water body a 6 for our rating. Remember, that was on species, water body, and angler difficulty. So this is actually a really nice spot. The road out here to Petrolia is well maintained. We're not that far off of the main highway. We're just off of Highway 200. There is a nice campground here. It's kind of small, but it's got covered picnic tables, a vault toilet, and a nice boat ramp that was installed by the Billings chapter of Walleyes Unlimited. The walleye are actually pretty easy as a target species here. It is managed as a walleye fishery, so it should be. And the forage fish are plentiful, so that helps. The walleye were pretty easy to come by boat. Shore anglers may have a slightly more difficult time. And while mapping, we did only find about 3 good structures to fish on. So all of that takes into account our rating, and we give it about a 6. So it was a nice spot to come check out if you're looking for a new spot, especially with the family. One thing to note, bluegill have recently been introduced illegally into this reservoir, and they may be competing with the perch, which are a preferred forage fish for walleye. So this may begin to affect the walleye position and behavior in the water body to come. We don't know yet. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy angling.